When we went to church, it was the first time that we went, and Brother Levi got up that night and he sang "I Am Redeemed" by Big Daddy Weave, and I was sitting in the pews and he was going through the song, and he got about halfway through the song and I started crying, and of course we're sitting back here in the back because we're new here, don't want nobody to see us, and so she noticed that I just started crying, so she grabbed my hand and held my hand, and I was praying at the same time, asking, God to forgive me, and that, I needed help, and that I wanted to be different. And then when invitation came that night, there in my seat, I asked to be saved, asked God to come into my heart and change me, and to make me a new creature, and to be different, not just for my wife's sake, but for the sake of my children as well. And I knew in that moment that I was saved.
When we started coming to Crossroads, we actually met with Michelle and Pastor Heath, and we went to Cracker Barrel. And it was super good, all that, and we were really excited. In the process of that, they said, "Well, are you saved?" And embarrassingly so, I just said, "Yeah, yep, no doubt." and it kind of went from there. And Shawn had questions about it, but I had already answered, so we just kind of focused on him. And so I had lied. I didn't even know what that meant. I just felt so nervous around new people, and all these good things are happening, and I don't want to answer negatively to a question that is obviously important to them. And so that's when I got saved, was literally on the car ride home. I can remember, we live in Verona, so it was like, I can remember seeing the Verona exit because I just opened my eyes from praying, and I was like, oh, I'm so nervous. It was just, I didn't know what to do from there. I was just on this new journey. I was going through, many people call it different things, like a spiritual attack, getting lost on the way. There's so many ways to just phrase it, but the truth was I just wasn't listening to God or my husband or my family. I was just doing what I wanted to do. 2 months or so go on, and our marriage is really taking a hit from it. And one day I just decided it was enough, and I asked Jessica, because Shawn had been trying to help me through the whole situation, and I felt comfortable with her. And we, it's not like we talk every day. It's not like it's just something about the connection I feel to her and to Joe and to Shawn. It's like all of that feels the most comfortable, more than blood. So we did, and that happened for probably a month, and we kind of got set off on the right path, and back on your path with God and with your spouse and just with your family, And so that was a life-changing moment for me, because like I said, I'm very stubborn and I hadn't been listening to God even before that. You're praying, you're tithing, you're obeying, but you're not in it. You're just on the surface. I think it's called lukewarm. Having Christian and godly counsel is like, if you're in a church and you're in, your Bible, you have to have somebody that can talk to you, about what's going on with you, because unchecked, you can easily convince yourself that everything's fine. And without spiritual counsel or someone to go to, where you're not spilling your whole life over, the church prayer request, but it's like you need to sit down and talk to somebody and really explain something for them to give you counsel back. That's priceless.
I took an interest in a young man named Colin. He was obviously struggling and obviously lost, and 19 or 20, he's young and going through a hard time, going through a struggle. This was my first time ever really sitting down with anybody and talking about God. And so we sat down in the lobby of my store, and I asked him what was going on and if he was okay, and he started talking, and then he starts crying, and he was telling me about what had happened to him, that he tried to hurt himself, and there was things that he just wasn't proud of that he had done. And I asked him what he wanted out of life, and he says, all I want to do is be happy. I want what you have. I told him my testimony. He's like, I want what you have. I want to be happy. I want to be a good person. And I was like, okay. He's like, and I can't do it. And I said, so you feel like you've tried everything? And he's like, well, yeah. And I said, no, you haven't. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, you're not going to like what I'm going to say. Because I had said it earlier in the conversation. I was like, you need God. And he goes, no, I don't. I said, yes, you do. I said, you've tried everything, right? And I asked him again. And he says, yes. I said, no, you haven't. You're not listening to me. It's like, I know what you need. I have it. He can do everything that you just told me that you want. He's like, how do you know? And I was like, I've got it. I said, dude, I just told you the hills and valleys and the Grand Canyons that I've gone through. And I'm standing here, I'm on top. And it's all because of him. He's like, well, how do you know that I've got to fix my life? I said, no, you don't. He's like, how do you know? I said, in the Bible. He's like, what do you mean? I said, come and see. So he came, and we invited him into our group, our little circle of friends that we had. And it inspired Tyler. He came to the Sunday morning service and sat with me, and he just,
it's gone from there.
Yeah, he just started soaking it in. And then a couple of weeks after that, he asked the Lord to save him and come in his heart, and there he was. He had done it, and we all celebrated. And then I think of Tyler as one of my best friends at this point in my life, and I have told him here recently that I think I undervalued our friendship with each other before, but now I truly know the depth of it and the value of our friendship.
It's like in John chapter 6, where they have 2 fish, and it's all about, if you give, God can give even more. And so Joe and Jessica gave a little that they could to us, and then it's like, it reminds me of the string of popcorn that you make when you're putting it on your Christmas tree, and it's like, one piece may not make a whole garland, 2 pieces may not, but when it's going through and you're collecting all those pieces, because you're just giving a little of what you've got, and the next person the same, God does a lot by you just doing a little.